To the three were heavily revamping, the Elementalist, Inquisitor, and Deadite. All of the others have received at least numeric attention also. We believe that the new design philosophy for Ascendancy passives makes them easier to understand and that they are a more concentrated source of power. We look forward to revealing the rest of it.
Welcome, it's your friendly neighborhood Badger here, and I am back for another update video. We're still talking about Ascendancies this time for the 3.13 Echoes of the Atlas and Ritual League update. We focused on the three main reworks in previous videos, but today we're going to talk about the three other reveals that we've had, and in future days we're going to be lumping them in three for the updates to other Ascendancies. So pretty sure it's been said that every Ascendancy is getting some form of update to either numbers or a little bit of changes. Today we're going to be going over Occultist, Hierophant, and Slayer. Those are the three that have been revealed at pathofexile.com/echoes. So first of all, let's look at Occultist. So there's a couple of big changes and then a couple of very small changes, but mostly certain things have stayed the same. Okay, so first of all, Malediction stays pretty much exactly the same. You can see here the additional curse. You don't get that. Wait, hang on. Sorry, you get the 15% increased effect of curses and the Malediction. You still get, but you do not get the killing enemies getting non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage for 4 seconds. That is nerfed from Malediction. However, you do not need to take Malediction after taking Profane Bloom. So it's a nerf, but also a buff because it's from a base Ascendancy point, which is really, really interesting here. Now, Profane Bloom is on its own, and it is massively buffed. You still get your hexes applied to hexproof enemies. However, instead of a 25% chance to explode, I'm fairly certain, yes, 25% chance to explode, it goes up to 40% chance to explode, dealing a quarter of their maximum life as chaos damage, which is really, really, really interesting. Void Beacon in the middle here is exactly the same. We're going to quickly skip over Void Beacon. The two things that are different on the side here are the Withering Presence and Frigid Wake. Now, Withering Presence and Frigid Wake both have the same change. Instead of 20% more damage over time multiplier of their respective damage types, Chaos and Cold, we instead get a flat 15% more of Chaos and a 15% more of Cold. Now, doing some calculations, it seems like this actually turns out, even for dot builds, turns out to be around about a 4 to 5% more damage than what you previously would have got from these two nodes. And it does also mean that you're not locked in to doing dot damage, which is really, really, really strong. So it's a massive buff to the viability of Occultist. Moving on to Vile Bastion. Vile Bastion is exactly the same, except for the regenerating the energy shield. Now, it still has up to 10% per second, but you regenerate 2% for each enemy you or your minions have killed recently, up from 1%. All this really means is that you stack up quicker. You only need to kill 5 enemies instead of 10 enemies to get the full stack. But honestly, when you're mapping, you're gonna, there's no difference. There's no practical difference to this node. That's basically all that I'm saying. The last node here is Forbidden Power. Now, Forbidden Power, we did actually used to have over in this area here. There is a tiny, tiny buff. You get 1% increased area of effect and 1% damage buff per power charge here. So instead of the 5% you're getting here, you're getting 6%. So that's the buff there. That's pretty much Occultist. So basically just the viability of builds that Occultist can use and take advantage of has widened for chaos hits and cold hits now, instead of just chaos dot and cold dot, which is very, very interesting. However, let's move on to the second Ascendancy, which is Hierophant. Now, there's some pretty big things with Hierophant that we do have going on. The very first thing that you might be able to see on the left-hand side there is Conviction of Power. Now, Conviction of Power has basically been reworked to give you 4 minimum endurance charges and 4 minimum power charges while giving you 1 maximum power and a maximum endurance. So what this does mean is you have consistently 100% uptime, endurance, and power charges, 4 at least. And then any above that, obviously, you'll have to stack them up yourselves, but you're always going to have 4, which is really, really insane. That's a really, really cool node. I like that it's just like a very small amount of text. Here's what you get. Take it. and go for it. Moving on to Sanctuary of Thought. Sanctuary of Thought is exactly the same. Sign of Purpose is exactly the same for brands, and Divine Guidance is exactly the same. The biggest thing that's probably changed on this Ascendancy, apart from Conviction of Power, is the totem nodes. Let's have a quick look at the totem nodes. So, first of all, Pursuit of Faith gives you 100% increased totem duration, +1 to max number of summoned totems, and totem placement speed. We have a look here. What you lose from this is 6% increased damage per enemy killed by you or your totems recently, so mapping damage, and 10% increased attack and cast speed while you have a totem. So you lose that, although you do get the 100% increased totem placement speed. Makes them place obviously a lot faster. But then move on to Ritual of Awakening. 5% more damage per summoned totem, regenerate 0.5% of mana per second for each summoned totem, and you and your totems regenerate 1% life per second for each summoned totem. Now this is a really interesting node, because let's have a look at the original node. You get 50% increased totem placement speed, and 3% more damage per summoned totem. So with these two nodes combined, we're looking at an extra 2% more damage per summoned totem and an extra 50% placement speed. The mana is the same, the regeneration. Now, one thing is completely omitted here, however, and that is skills that you would summon a totem, summon 2 totems instead. That's completely removed from Hierophant, which is a really interesting choice, because it actually kind of ruins totems for Hierophant. I'm not sure why this choice has been made. My guess is that this has been made because there's going to be a point on the tree, maybe even a keystone, that does what that does, that summons 2. So what that means is Chieftain totems are more viable, Ballista totems are more viable, all of that kind of stuff. That's what I'm guessing. However, if that's not on the tree, then you can consider this quite the nerf, and that you probably wouldn't be playing totems, which is pretty interesting. And the life regeneration is the same there. Alright, now let's move on to Arcane Blessing. Now, Arcane Blessing and Illuminated Devotion, I'm pretty sure these have switched, yes. However, they still actually quite changed as well. So Arcane Blessing is giving you 50% increased effective Arcane Surge on you, and gaining Arcane Surge when you hit enemies with a spell. So you still get the Arcane Surge when you hit enemies with a spell on Arcane Blessing previously, but you didn't get that extra buff of the increased effective Arcane Surge on you, which is quite strong, especially if you've got a level 20 Arcane Surge. Illuminated Devotion now gives you 30% increased area effect while you have Arcane Surge, which is 5% up. You then also get Immune to Ailments, which used to be given by Arcane Blessing. But then you also get the spell damage leeches life while you have Arcane Surge, which is something that was on Illuminated Devotion. Yes, it's still on Illuminated Devotion. The thing that you miss out on is the increased spell damage while you have Arcane Surge. So that has basically been replaced with increased effective Arcane Surge on you. I would say that the increased effective Arcane Surge on you is better, but I haven't run the calculations yet. I actually have not run the calculations. So that's pretty interesting there. That's all the changes for Hierophant. You can expect, hopefully, some changes on the tree that combat the totem nerfs here. If not, don't play totems with Hierophant. Let's move on to Slayer. Slayer is the last one that has been teased with the updates and everything like that. And there's a couple of notable things. The first notable thing I want to mention on Slayer is that Endless Hunger and Brutal Fervor have been completely switched. So they're pretty much the same if we actually have a look at this. We do get overkill damage leached as life and increased attack speed while leeching. So the increased attack speed while leeching is probably, it used to be on Brutal Fervor. They've switched that. And then Brutal Fervor is here for the extra maximum recovery of life leech. So this is really good for survivability on Slayer. It just means that you don't have to take the full 2 nodes to get the really nice survivability from the life leech of Brutal Fervor. The other interesting thing is Impact. Instead of +2 to melee strike range, it's gone up to +4 to melee strike range, which is very interesting. Everything else is remaining the same. Masterful Form is the same, but instead of getting duration to Frenzy and Endurance, let's face it, we don't really need that, you actually get +1 maximum Frenzy charges, which what that means is you get +1 maximum Endurance charges as well. So that's a really, really great node. Then moving to Overwhelm, the base critical strike chance for attacks with weapons has been buffed from 7.5 7.5 up to 8%. And then the rest is the same. So negative 30 crit strike multiplier to nearby enemies, and then the 100% crit strike multiplier per nearby enemy as well, which is super nice. And then lastly, Headsman and Bane of Legends are exactly the same, so we don't really need to talk about those two at all. So Slayer is basically, it's just a little bit more quality of life. I don't think it's enough to bring Slayer back into the playable meta. Cyclone's just going to be the way that Slayer goes, but honestly, it's still not looking amazing, right? Still not looking amazing. That's all I have to say about these 3 Ascendancies. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Hit that sub button down below if you want to keep watching more videos like this, and hit the bell as well so you get notifications. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't like to give you notifications for it because it's a little bit silly. And come watch me live on twitch.tv/thisisbadgergaming. Best place to see all of this stuff happen. I'm doing all of these videos, editing, uploading, recording, all live right now. So if you want to see the process, come and have a look. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Until next time, Badger out.